Okay. Okay. Good morning again, Elijah. So happy to see you.
Hello,
And you,
Mr. Bayer. It's good
yeah,
to see you too.
yeah. Please call me Bob.
Bob. Okay,
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah. Anyway, it's good to see you. And today, the topics are faithism, the spiritual path, how to work together, how to do blessings, and I don't have any particular order or itinerary to follow, but you had mentioned that I think I think I wanted to start by saying that I would think the Eloist path that's within Oahspe reader within the Oahspe groups, I think that's a very high path, and that's one reason I enjoy talking with you because you're one of the few people I know who have studied the Eloist teaching so much, and I feel like it's a good thing.
Yeah, I feel blessed to know all these things. Like I feel really like blessed and privileged in some sort of way. Not that I'm superior or something like that,
No,
but I feel that responsibility, that I
hmm
have to do something with that knowledge, that
right.
others have to benefit from my knowledge.
Right. I'm going to try to summarize the Ellis path very as quickly as I can with no preparation. And I guess I
Yeah,
would say is they believe that every thought counts, that what we feel and think every moment. There's another philosophical path called New Thought, where they say you have the power in your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. You can generate such good thoughts that you can control or you can uplift yourself, and you can, even more importantly, you can uplift others by praying, call them affirmations, call them blessings. But all these good thoughts and good energies, that's what heaven is. It's a composite, or it's the creation of all our good thoughts. That's what heaven is. And
yeah,
the, and the people who live there now, the good spirits, the good angels, whenever we try to um, create good thoughts and good ideas for others and for ourselves, they try to work with us so that it basically works better. And I say this not to make the angels the focus, because the creator is always the focus.
of course. Yeah,
But I'm just saying, but it doesn't mean we should ignore them either. Okay, anyway, that's just my first feeble attempts to explain what the Ellis path is. Um, they have a lot of writings basically describing how you can train your mind through prayer, meditation, visions, blessings, so that you can do more good in a spiritual sense. Um, of
yeah,
course, of course, doing good works where you're interacting with people physically as a mortal, that's great. Uh, if you're like I was saying, Mike, who may join us in a few minutes, he works with the poor and he works to help
hmm,
get food and medical supplies and so on. And that's a really
that's
great,
great.
it's great.
Yeah.
One time I was working in Africa, 4 years I worked in Africa for the poor. And that's what Oahspe teaches us to do. But I think I like the Eloist perspective because, well, what if you're not, isn't there anything else you can do to help the world? And I think the answer is
Yeah,
you can generate spiritual blessings or spiritual power, spiritual attunement for the good of everyone.
that's a great question to ask because, like, I've also read the Eloist Anthology from, you know, Radiance, the Eloist Anthology, and that's to remind the others that's that book. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah. So
exactly, that book. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So,
and what the angels tell us is they repeatedly tell us that because Oahspe is not a religion, we don't have to preach others like other religions do. But what is really important for the creator is that we set an example, that we are role models to the world. And the angels also tell us that it is possible for us to do good passively just by being good, just by, doing everything, not just by doing good, but by doing things in a good way, if you know what I mean.
I do. That's a
Like,
great.
for example, if you go to the grocery store, that you have a
Mm,
smile on your face,
mm,
that you are polite to others, that
mm,
you help maybe an elderly person with the bag with a grocery, you know,
right.
or that you hold up a door open.
Mm,
Such simple things, small tasks,
mm.
can change everything. They start a chain reaction, which in turn causes others to be kind and polite to others. That's also a scientific phenomenon which can be seen in multiple reports
Mm.
and articles. And yeah, it's true. It's backed by science. And that's what the angels want us to be good, to do everything in a good way, even this most simple and mundane tasks in life.
Yeah, and of course, when you say the angels, you mean the creator also just as much.
Yeah,
And
of
I
course.
think
Yeah,
I think what we're trying to say is that the angels are there. We don't want to make them an object of worship, but we want to be open more to their inspiration, like we're a team.
yeah,
And you're saying it's sometimes called the focus, where you don't allow any negative thought to come into your mind, and you try to remain as pure as possible in
yeah,
like being a good person. And there's kind of an emanation or the creation of a very positive energy that comes from your spirit, your mind, as you successfully do this, and it kind of rubs off on other people. And like you were just saying, all these simple actions of saying hello, holding the door open, or just being polite and cheerful, it helps others to feel happier and more in tune with the creator of
yeah,
the universe. So, so there is some. You don't want to become a negative person where you're like moaning, complaining, criticizing others. You
yeah.
want to keep it positive, and that's basically
That's
what
right.
that's what the Eloist path is basically. And
Yeah. There's also a special part in Oahspe in which the creator, it's in the Book of Judgment, yeah, in Oahspe, and the creator tells us, or the creator through God tells us that if we like help a person, if we like, for example, take part in charity, but we are unkind to the people we help, like we
yeah,
have thrown and we
yeah,
insult them,
yeah,
then the help we're doing doesn't have any worth.
mm, yeah,
And that's something which is very interesting
mm,
because that just shows us that it's not important that we show others that we are good, but our intention has to be good and selfless in our
well
heart.
said. Mm.
Yeah, that's very
Well,
important. Selflessness is a very important, if not the most important aspect in Oahspe for an Eloist, for a Faithist. Selflessness. That you do good without wanting anything in return.
well, you said that really well. Thank you. That's great, Elijah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's a goal, and it's we're human, so it's not something you can do like instantly. Snap your fingers. I mean, all these things are going to happen. You're going to be tired. You're going to be busy with your life. There's going to be conflicts that come up between you, maybe somebody in your family or someone you work with, and it's going to be a
yeah,
challenge to navigate through that and stay positive. But that's the purpose of life, isn't it? To
of course. That's our purpose. Yeah,
figure. I think that's what we're basically saying is um, life is a challenge. There's going to be darkness that's going to come towards you. People are going to criticize you, or you're going to have a hard time. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you have friends who are have some kind of addiction, whether it's alcohol or whatever, and they want you to share in this. So you're fighting. What I want to be a good friend, but I don't want to get involved with something that's dark. And so
yeah,
you're always trying to find the right path. And like I like what you said, doing good for others without any thought of getting something back for it. And
yeah,
that really inspires me to hear you say that. And I think I think that's been my general idea too, but sometimes you drift away from it, you forget about it.
yeah.
Um,
Foremost, if you, for example, pursue a job, then it's sometimes required to want something in return for your service. Yeah, I can totally understand. Yeah,
yeah, so basically we're saying that yes, if you can do some volunteer work, that'll make the world a better place. Yeah, do it, go for it. And also be kind and good to everyone around you, whether it's the people you work with or at school, people you study and learn with, or whether it's your family members, your friends. Be that good person, be that positive, uplifting person. And that's a great thing. But I think what we're also saying, the Eloists believe it's good to take time to focus your spiritual power in blessing others, in creating prayers and affirmations that not just would inspire them with words, but there's a power, there's a spiritual soul power that we can create within ourselves that in conjunct, and it's something that's you can do it individually with, and the creator's within you, so you have like limitless power in that sense. But
Yeah.
but if you can, we're also in like there's this goal where if we could somehow coordinate it with other people, whether they're, of course, they could the angelic persons, but also other mortals such as you or me or others. I think that's really what I think that's why we're meeting each other. I think that's why we're working together. We
Yeah.
we want to figure out how to have some kind of concord or blessing group that will make the world,
Yeah.
that will send out good energy to the world, and it will help
Yeah.
us. But
The great thing about that is that that energy can also manifest in materiality, because the Hopi Indians have been known to gather together in such blessing groups, and they have been capable to of summoning rain
mm,
by
yeah,
praying, by blessing,
yeah.
and they were very advanced in that field.
Mm,
So that's like
mm.
a very high stage that we have to get to in the future. But yeah, that's the power of affirming. That's the power of common blessing.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
I'm glad you said that because the native peoples, even the European peoples, or of course, uh, your background is Indian.
yeah, I'm half Indian, half Italian.
Okay, well, if you go back to our basic tribal, um, I don't know, primeval culture, which people commonly think of as like the Native Americans, for example, and the Hopi, like as you just said, they, the Eloist path, even the Oahspe path, where you worship the true creator and you look you look to live a spiritual life in a community where everyone's basically very positive and full of love, and you want to take that powerful love and somehow make a better world. I think it all comes from there too. I mean, we could look and see what, so if we were to look at what other native peoples were doing, we would see so many corresponding spiritual paths or ideas that apply would apply in our case, would apply what we're trying to do now, don't you think?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you brought up the Hopi because um, we're basically we're not trying to say that the Ellis path is the only path, is what I'm right. And we're trying to say there's a universal path, and all the native peoples have in its purest form, that's the universal path. So
It's great that you speak about it, the universal path, because what's very interesting about Oahspe is, like I told before, it is not a religion. It is, for those who don't know it, Oahspe has been channeled to a dentist called John Baloo, and multiple angels have been channeling Oahspe through him, and Oahspe itself is a collection of multiple books which have been derived by the heavenly libraries. Like they are all scientific, historic, scientific, philosophical texts which have been derived by the libraries in heaven, in the organized heavens, and which have been then joined together into one book.
yes,
And
yeah,
what is very interesting about Oahspe is that Oahspe has always been like one step ahead of our scientific community, of that which has been published. For example, like Oahspe was published in the year 1882, and
right.
in that time, it has not been common knowledge yet that, for example, let's start with alcohol, that alcohol is toxic for the human body.
Right.
And only the spiritual people knew that alcohol is toxic, but the like materialistic people, the normal people, they didn't know that it was toxic. They thought that it was even good for our gut. But Oahspe tells us that alcohol is poisonous. And decades later, it has been revealed by the scientific community that alcohol is indeed poisonous and dangerous for our liver, and that it can cause death. Another example, Oahspe tells us that cigarettes are poisonous, that we should not smoke cigarettes. But it has only been revealed in, I think, in the 1950s or even a bit later, that cigarettes are unhealthy. And even half a century after the publication of Oahspe, doctors have still advertised for cigarettes.
Right.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's true.
The same applies for drugs. Like, till the 1980s, people thought that drugs are healthy, that they are a means, they are means of spiritual enlightenment. But Oahspe tells us since 1882 that drugs are not good for us, that we should not consume drugs.
Right.
And the same way applies for vaccination. I mean, the scientific community still does not accept that vaccines are not good for us, that they're unhealthy.
Yes.
But meanwhile, in the year 1882, Oahspe tells us that vaccines are the, I quote, battle axe of Satan. But more and more scientists, like Professor Bhakti, reveal to us that vaccines are indeed poisonous for the human body. So what does it tell us? It just tells us that what makes Oahspe special above all religions, like, first of all, it isn't a religion, it condemns religion, and second of all, it is just way ahead of our scientific community. And there are so many other spiritual sources, like spirit reports, witch doctors from Africa, which just confirm what Oahspe says.
Right.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I want to dovetail off, just respond a few places. Yeah, so Oahspe is not a religion, it's a universal path.
Yeah.
And the vaccine thing's very interesting. Of course, I never took the vaccines for the coronavirus, and I'm perfectly healthy.
Me too.
Vaccines, it's better to develop your own immune system to fight these things. Just anyway, I won't get into a detailed thing like that. But also, nowadays, there's a lot of response to spiritual problems. People are taking drugs. There's different psychotropic drugs people are taking, and it creates. So, anyway, I don't want to get into too much anti-drug stuff here, but basically, stay pure.
Yeah.
Trust the power of you can do a lot of healing, whether it's physical healing or spiritual healing, through the power of blessing, through the soul power that you possess within yourself and others.
You really put it on point, what you just said. Because that's
I just got a doorbell ring. I think it's a package delivery. Yay.
Okay.
I'll be back in 30 seconds. Please keep talking. We're being recorded, so.
I should keep talking? Okay.
Yeah, just keep talking.
So, okay. Yeah, that's all very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've been on this path for 10 years. Or more my family and I, we started off as Essene Faithists since I was 10 years old. And that was also around that age when I stopped eating meat. I became an Essene. Now I'm 21 years old, and I am almost 11 years into that path. And yeah, I don't regret it. No. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good feeling to have the opportunity to love the Creator without actually having to be in a religion, And yeah, I'm very proud of that path. And it's also like very interesting that right now it is recording, but later on it will be published on YouTube. So I'm basically talking to the future.
Sorry.
Yeah, everything is okay. I've just
Back.
told the story about how I became a Faithist. Like I started off 10 years ago as an Essene Faithist before I even knew Oahspe, my family and me. Yeah, and 1 or 2 years later we discovered Oahspe. Yeah, and now here I am.
Well, I'm certainly pleased to meet you. Anyway, I would like to start a group, even if it's just us two at first, to start praying together, blessing together. And I think the next time we do, anyway, how we do that, it's an open question to me. It's true you can do it without Zoom, okay? So, but I feel like we need another meeting just to discuss the specific techniques of doing this. You know, I don't think I think we've just sort of broadly covered some basic topics, spiritual path topics, but I feel like we have to have one more meeting where we just talk about, well, what do you do? What is an affirmation? What do the Eloists recommend?
Maybe we can like, if we don't start it right now, maybe we can like introduce the audience to that topic, like what even an affirmation is, like you said. Yeah. Like, do you want to start or shall I?
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you start?
Okay. So, first of all, it is very important to know what a human actually is. So, I think you are well aware of the fact that we believe, Bob and I, that the human is not just the body, but also a spirit. And basically, the spirit is like a man who is driving a car. You know, the car is basically the human body, and we are the person who is driving the car. Like, the same way I am not that car that I'm driving, the same way I'm not my body. I'm just driving my body, if you know what I mean. So, and that leads us to another discovery, which is that a human doesn't have only one singular mind.
Right.
We believe that humans have actually 3 different kinds of mind. The first mind is the conscious mind.
Right.
It is like the voice we have, like it is the analyzing voice. It is the same voice which talks about stuff, which perceives reality with the senses. That's the conscious mind. Right. But behind the conscious mind, which is more powerful than the conscious mind, is the subconscious mind. And science already discovered the subconscious mind and its functions. The subconscious mind is responsible for about 98% of our activity, like our breathing, how our internal organs work. And most of the things we do is controlled by our subconscious mind. And that's when affirmations come in, because hypnosis and affirmations basically target the subconscious mind, and we kind of use the power of our subconscious mind in order to make things happen. First of all, within our bodies.
I want to say one thing. I think it is one way to look at things, is say it's subconscious mind, but I would like to put it forth to you that that's the psychology way of describing it. I would say rather the soul. The power, the source of all of this is your soul, your spirit soul. And so you're really trying to unleash the power of your soul to create a good effect.
Right. But there's also another distinction, because many people think that the spirit and the soul are one and the same thing, but actually it's not. Because the soul is actually just, the subconscious mind is actually the soul, like you said, but then there's a third layer of consciousness which all humans have. which science has still not discovered. It's the supraconscious mind, which is basically the creator's mind. Because we Faithists believe that the creator is within every human. Like every human is an avatar of the creator. And that's the third layer of our consciousness, the creator himself, the very creator himself, because nothing exists outside the creator, nothing.
That's a great way to put it, Elijah.
Yeah.
Yeah, super conscious. I've read a lot of philosophical and spiritual books that put it that way. But in essence, it's really just the ever presence of the creator, the great spirit.
Yeah.
So that's all very cool. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to show my screen.
Yeah.
And the reason is I want to show some of the books about blessing. I'll leave
Yeah.
links in the description. We'll see if this works.